Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. This will be the last session, not the last session of the tribunal, where we will be having two civil society organizations make presentations relevant to the issue of state capture. We will begin first with Mr. Briggs Moloko from the Unpaid Benefits Campaign. He's a member of that particular organization, and he'll be speaking to us today on the issue of pension funds and state capture. And I'd just like to alert everyone that this is our civil society organizations who are making a presentation, so Advocate Hobden will not be necessarily leading their evidence. So without further ado, Mr. Moloko.
How's that? What? Do I start? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard Moloko, but I'm known as Briggs. Briggs is my nickname. I make this presentation on behalf of the Unpaid Benefits Campaign, known as the UBC. The UBC was founded in March 2017 as an informal network of individuals and groups of workers who have been trying to access their pension and provident fund. The UBC is supported by numerous civil society organizations, including Abahlali Basemjondolo, Black Sash, Casual Workers Advice Office, Ekurhuleni Unpaid Benefits Campaign, International Labor Research and Information Group, which is ILRIC, Khulumani Support Group, Orange Farm Human Rights Advice Center, Right to Know, South Durban Community Environmental Alliance, Ubunye Bama Hostel, VAL Unpaid Benefit Campaign, and the Workers' World Media Production. Within 1 year, the UBC has grown to be a national campaign. This rapid growth signifies the important need for such a campaign and extent to which a systematic problem of unpaid benefit exists. We call the tribunal attention to our deliberate use of the term unpaid benefit. When you look at the newspapers or you hear some other people, they call it unclaimed benefit. Now we disagree with the unpaid because unclaimed is unpaid. This term accords respect to our members who have for years been actively seeking to access their benefit and have not been successful. They have tried to claim, but keeping getting blocked by administrative failures. Their benefits are therefore not unclaimed, but unpaid by their funds and their respective fund administrators. We also use the term pension funds to collectively refer to both pension and provident funds as governed by the Pension Fund Act. Governed by Pension Fund Act. A brief background and context to the issues. The necessity for our submission and our campaign is captured in a single statistic. At the end of 2016, there remained an aggregate of more than 41.7 billion in unpaid pension and provident fund benefits owed to more than 4 million people. This amount likely to sharply increase when aggregating the total amount in all pension and provident fund, including the government employees pension fund and the Transnet funds. This means that approximately 4 million people who have reached retirement, the age at which one loses your income, and have made provision of retirement throughout their working lives by paying contribution to retirement funds, have not received a single rent owed to them from their hard-earned labor. Many have died or are too old and sickly to find employment. In a country with rising unemployment and poverty, it is not an exaggeration to say that unpaid beneficiaries are living in poverty as they attempt to find alternative means of survival with no income. This is the lived experience of our members. This forces us to ask ourselves, why are there so many unpaid beneficiaries? What are the problems that workers face when trying to access their benefits? Why are accountability mechanisms missing? And who stands to gain from the disturbing high number of unpaid benefits? Our submission is split into 3 parts. In the first half, we provide examples of ordinary workers' experiences when attempting to access their pension and provident funds. In the second half, we call to the tribunal attention key systematic problem that we feel have created the current situation. In third and last section, we outline our recommendation to address the crisis and which we ask the tribunal consider adopting. Part 1, the experience of workers when trying to access their pension and provident funds. The experience of the Unpaid Benefits Campaign is numerous. We have example of workers, for example, from Cape Gate. This is one company in the Val Triangle, Vanderbilt Park, who have been trying for over 20 years to meet with their fund and former employer. Each time they march or write a memorandum, they are met with silence. We have the example of a worker who has been told that he applying for his fund too late and that his claim is expired. This is despite that putting in his initial claim to his deceased father money in time, his fault is to not follow up on the claim. We have also workers who, after 20 years of service, received a pension fund claim of 80,000 rand. He has nowhere to go to seek answer on how his benefit has been calculated and decided. Many of these workers are old pensioners who are illiterate. Part 2. Systematic challenges that led to the crisis. The examples listed above can be traced to 3 key systematic factors in the administration of pension fund. The first relate to poor administration practice and lack of access to information. The second to the general treatment of unpaid benefits. And the third to poor accountability structures and a lack of political will. Poor administration and lack of access to information. Pension fund law has developed a complex legal system to govern multiple types of pension funds, defined contribution fund, defined benefits fund, standalone umbrella fund, etc., etc. Each with their own sets of rules and regulations. Each type of fund is required to respond to the different reasons for a worker's retirement and is accountable to the Pension Fund Act, as well as fund-specific rules. This complex set of laws, regulations, and rules are dependent on an expansive administration and resources to manage and administer thousands of pension fund members and their resulting claim forms. The effectiveness of an expansive administration relies on each pension and organizations involved to be knowledgeable about the processes involved and for there to be proper accountability mechanism to ensure compliance and efficiency within the pension fund administration. We submit that at the very beginning, there is often a failure to communicate effectively on the part of employers and fund administrators with employees. Employees need to know what a pension fund is, how it operates, and what it means to be a member of a fund. Finally, they need to know their rights, roles, and responsibilities in relation to their pension fund and its governance. The failure to maintain consistent communication, particularly with members who have reached retirement, is of great concern. In our experience, this failure is often accompanied by poor administrative practices that result in, at best, unnecessary delays in the payment of pension funds, and at worst, an unwillingness to trace beneficiaries and pay beneficiaries money owed to them. For fund and fund administrators, unpaid benefits represents both an expense and potential assets. Tracing beneficiaries can be expensive, and often funds do not attempt to trace beneficiaries who are owed small amounts. On the other hand, unpaid benefits means that a fund has more money to invest and gain returns on investments. Thus, for funds, these factors act as a incentives to tracing potential beneficiaries. It is deeply distressing that such practices exist with little accountability. Whilst we cannot name all of the poor administrative practices here, it is important to note that there are thousands of migrant workers in South Africa. Migrant workers face additional challenges, especially when attempting to claim their benefits from outside our borders. We do acknowledge that some efforts have been made by the FSB to trace beneficiaries within the mining sector. General treatment of unpaid benefits and unclaimed benefits funds. In this section, we would like to bring to the tribunal attention at least two practices by fund administrators which require attention from the registrar, and we argue greater political will. The first practice that of the cancellation of registration of funds. For many years, companies created stand-alone pension funds to which their employees belonged. Over time, that changed, and companies were advised to move their employees from stand-alone fund to umbrella funds, which are larger funds established for the benefit of large numbers of unrelated employers. In many cases, after the assets held by the funds to provide for their future liabilities to the employees were transferred to their new funds, the board of trustees of the old funds stopped functioning because they thought that there was nothing further required of them. But while this may have been true in some cases, in many others, the funds still had assets and liabilities, particularly liabilities relating to unpaid benefit. But because the beneficiaries were not pounding on their doors demanding payment of their benefits, no one was concerned about it. It was assumed that the transfers happened properly and the boards of these funds ceased to operate, becoming offense funds. The FSB, in conjunction with fund administrators, has cancelled the registration of over 4,600 orphan pensions and provident funds. The cancellation were done without checking what had happened to their assets and liabilities. And it is likely that some funds may still have held amounts payable to unpaid beneficiaries. This is aggravated by their weak attempts to proactively track down beneficiaries and ensure that the funds are paid to workers. In November 2017, the Registrar of Pension Funds announced the intention to close over 1,600 more pension funds. We are not opposed to the closure of fund. No longer operative. We are against the funds being closed without proper processes. In an attempt to deal with the high number of benefits that have not been paid, there has been a creation of unclaimed benefits fund, often run by the fund administrators, who administer a number of pension funds whose unpaid benefits are transferred to the unclaimed benefits fund of the respective administrator. The nature of unclaimed benefits funds is that the members are unknown and require resources to be traced. It is therefore left to the fund administrators to determine the boards of these funds and the appointment, the so-called independent board members. This created a conflict of interest where decisions often favor the administrators as opposed to the beneficiaries. This includes rules and practices established in relation to costs. The cost of administration of the fund and the cost to trace beneficiaries are often charges to members of the fund. Thus, where a member is found, the amount of money due to the members is paid after the subtractions of this cost. This is unlawful and unfair. Each fund holds assets. These assets do not belong to the members of the fund, but to the fund itself. The assets of the fund should be used to cover the cost of the fund. Accountability structures and the lack of political will. Based on submission to the tribunal, it is clear that there is a need for greater accountability and political will. The current and complex system of the administration of pension fund has treated an environment that is open to abuse and corrupt practices. For example, the cancellation project called into question the link between accountability and the cost. And one could argue captured relationship between the regulator, which is the FSB, and the very industry it is supposed to regulate. The purpose of regulation is to ensure the protection of workers' benefits. Yet it is clear from the practices of the fund administrator that the FSB has failed to comply with its mandate. We further submit that the department and individuals who have oversight over the FSB, such as Treasury and politicians, have failed. The state's failure is driven by a lack of political will. Now, we have recommendations. Now, the part of recommendations from the UBC are satellite offices be opened by the FSB with the sole purpose to assist unpaid beneficiaries. The number of unpaid beneficiaries is 4 million. The FSB has the knowledge to determine whether anyone has claims owed to them and how to access these benefits. Satellite offices across the country can be established to ensure that this knowledge is used effectively to trace and find beneficiaries of unpaid benefits. Enhanced, expanded investigatory and regulatory capacity at the FSB. This should allow the FSB to proactively deal with the unpaid benefits crisis and should be accompanied by specific FSB reports to Parliament. Review of exemption laws. The current law allows fund administrators to not submit reports to the FSB. We argue that these reports are necessary to hold fund to account. The last one, a transparent and accountability leadership. In light of our submission and the ongoing investigation by the public protectors, it is clear that the FSB is in urgent need for transparent and accountable leadership. We recommend the replacement of the Executive Director, Mr. Dube Sidi, as well as Chairperson Abel Sitole at the FSB. In addition, we recommend the FSB more transparent about their work and accountable to the public. Thank you.
Of course, you are prepared to answer questions from the panel, right? Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Briggs. Just one question from me, and this I may have missed in your presentation and in your recommendations. I didn't hear you speak about fund trustees and the role that the trustees should play in addressing the situation of people who are part of the campaign. So I just wanted to know whether I missed that, or is the campaign having a view that the trustees are captured themselves? So that's, yeah.
Can I answer? Okay. Yeah, I think I spoke about the frustrations of the members of the UBC, because we tried all the corners trying to get more information about this, and we were looking for trustees to assist in responding to some other issues that we are raising now. But most unfortunately, we don't find any response from the trustees. We approach trade unions to give us more clarity on their members who are part of the trustees to come and assist, because these are former workers. These are the former trade unionists that are looking for assistance. I think our doors are still open for trustees to become an account. And I like the way you put it about thinking about the capturing of the trustees, because some workers feel that these trustees are captured.
Okay. Question? No question. Okay. Thank you very much. I think we have no questions because many of us have no questions because we admire your work greatly. I think we all believe that you contribute to the reconstruction of our society. You're involved in what we believe is a constitutional project. And may you have the courage, the energy, and the inspiration to proceed with greater force. Thank you very much.